Wow. Honestly, I don't even know what to say. I didn't expect any of this. I mean, I'm not surprised, but still, I didn't really expect this. Honestly, I just wish that I knew that the video needed to be at least a minute long. I could have been getting paid. Like, y'all, my glasses broke. I don't know if you can see this, but I just got my hair done yesterday. I went to the salon and I got mini twists put in because I want to go back to having locks. I dropped my glasses on the ground as I've done a million different times, but for some reason this time hit the wrong place or the right place this time, but it just cracked my frame. When I got back home, I was trying to glue it back together, and as I was doing that, I just broke it more. So now I have tape on my glasses. I don't know if you can see. So the tape is kind of scratching my nose. As I was coming back from the salon, I had to try and be creative. I ended up taking a hair tie, kind of like securing it across the top and bottom of my frame to keep it together so that the lens would stay in place so that I could drive back home. Anyway, I think I've been avoiding making this video, but I was sitting here watching TV in my living room and then I decided that I probably should just get it out of the way. So here was my story time. As you can see, I don't really post in general. I don't really post about my relationship or I guess just really anything. I did kind of figure that if I ever did post about my relationship that something like this would happen. Again, I am still shocked though, but again, also kind of not. Your shock, your reactions, your questions, understandable. I have not read the comments under that TikTok video. I am choosing my peace. I honestly just, I don't need that kind of negativity. I see that there's a lot of new people on my page, so I thought that I should just come on here and introduce myself. So, my name is Shandara. I live in Philly. I'm not from Philly. I'm not a Philly girl or a John, as you guys like to say, and I do not claim to be. I just live here, at least currently. I'm actually from a small town in Connecticut, born and raised, and my family is from a small island in the Caribbean. I am a really simple person. I like the outdoors. I dress modestly. That is my choice to do. I like to explore and try new things. I garden. And when I was little, I really, really loved to read. That was like my favorite things. I would spend hours just like sitting in my mom's rocking chair reading. I really lost that though. So that is something that I do want to get back into. Overall, I'm a pretty just normal, regular girl. Now, to address the man that you see in my videos. Y'all caught me. This was all just a hoax. That man in the video is my daddy. I'm just kidding. We've been together for 6 years. We're really happy, and honestly, that's all that matters to me. This reaction is nothing new. I mean, anytime I've, told somebody new about, my relationship, they've always been shocked. I mean, the reaction is kind of the same. I guess just not so mean, but the reaction of like the shock and stuff like that is usually the same, so I'm used to it. But whereas this is like, okay, it's a whole ton of people that I just didn't even expect really to see that video. I didn't think it was going to blow up like that at all. I'm usually a pretty private person. If you look on my any of my social media pages, you'll see that I don't really post. There's like a really big kind of gap between like, okay, things that I posted way back when in 2021, 2022 versus boom, the post that I've been putting out currently. I am currently posting because I do want to try to become a content creator. That is a goal of mine on my different social media platforms. I am open to sharing more about my life and my relationship and stuff like that, but also understand that I am a little nervous. This is all very new, and it's just so many people, all these strangers and things. It's just a lot to have people that you don't know all up in your business and wanting to know who you are and what you do. Here we are, It happened. The video is out. It is what it is. If you're still here, and you're liking this video so far, please give me a follow, a like, a subscribe, comment where you're coming from, and what kind of questions you have. I thought that I would sit here and I would just introduce myself, like I said, and give you a little story time. I didn't read all of the comments just to protect myself. I do know kind of like the theme of what people were asking. I might see like a few comments here and there, but for the most part, like I try not to read any of the comments. Like I don't go on the video and just like scroll through and read what you guys said. So I'm going to try to answer typical questions that I get. But again, if you guys have questions, you could drop them here and then I'll try to answer, but I'm not going to read through the comments on the TikTok video. Okay, so story time. I wanted to tell you guys story time about how we met. Sean and I have been together, I think I said this already, for 6 years. At the time, he was living in Delaware and I was in Connecticut going to school. We met on Tinder. Our first date is actually a pretty interesting story, and that's why I figured I would share it with you guys. So I had just came back from a birthday trip in Grenada. I have a twin sister, and she and I decided that we were going to take our first trip out of the country. Well, technically we had been to Canada beforehand, but I don't really count that. So outside of Canada, this would have been our first trip out of the country. We decided to go to Grenada, had a great time. And during that time, Sean and I had connected on Tinder and we're just like messaging back and forth, and then decided, okay, once I got back, we would go on our first date. This is an older guy, and I'm like in college at the time, and obviously, like, I'm thinking, how can I protect myself? So we decided that we were going to meet up in New York because it was in the middle for both of us. At that time, I did have a car, but I didn't want to drive all the way to New York just because, like, I didn't have a lot of experience with doing so. And, I don't like traffic and the parking and all that different kind of stuff. So what we ended up agreeing to do was I would take the train. So Sean actually purchased a train ticket for me for the Amtrak, and I took the train to New York City. So we picked this restaurant that was only maybe like 2 blocks or something away from the train station. Like I remember I got off of the train, and this is lunchtime, because again, it's just better to do it during the day so that for both of our safety, really. We could go on this date, see if we liked each other, whatever, and then go back home. So this was lunchtime. We went on this date. I took the train. I walked maybe 6 minutes, and then I go to this restaurant and I wait for him. And I'm sitting at the bar, and I just get a water. Oh my gosh, this is bothering me. This is really scratching my nose. Oh my gosh. So I get off of the train and I go and I sit at the bar. He's not there yet. I just get a glass of water because I'm not like, I don't know. I didn't want to pay for a drink, and I guess I didn't want to assume that he was going to pay for my drink either. And I don't know, it just seemed like rude. So I figured, like, okay, I'll just get some water. And I'm sitting at the bar. And I'm pretty sure he was like pretty late. Like, I think I was sitting at the bar for like 20 minutes before he finally showed up. So we were actually not supposed to eat food. I think we planned to just grab drinks, and then and just talk. But he came into the restaurant and he saw me, and as soon as he saw me, all I'm gonna say is the first thing he said was, "Do you want to sit down? Do you want to go get some food?" So of course I said yes. I was hungry. It was lunchtime, and sit down at a table, and we end up ordering pizza. I want to say I think we probably just got one large pizza, and but we got like two different. We like split it in half, so it had two different toppings on it. We may have gotten separate pizzas, but honestly, I don't remember. We had some drinks, and honestly, it was just all around a good time. I mean, this was 6 years ago. I can't remember exactly everything that happened, but all I know is that neither of us wanted the day to end. So obviously, we were having a good time. So after we ate and had drinks, we decided, okay, neither of us wants to leave. We want to continue this date. So we're like, okay, let's do something else. What do we do next? We decided that we were gonna go watch a movie. So we went and we watched a movie. I can't even remember what the heck we watched. All I know is that, again, we didn't want the date to end. We went bowling, we played pool. Basically, there was this place in New York that, like, in the one building, it had a bunch of different type of activities that you could do. So we didn't have to really like travel around a lot, but this one building, like, it had the movie theater, it had um, the bowling in it. It had pool, all kinds of stuff. And all I remember though is that we spent the whole day together, and it was a really fun time. And then the plan was, for me to hop back on the train and end the date there. I don't think I had ever played pool before that time. And of course, he had to do the little like cheesy move that everybody does. Oh, put your come up behind you, put your arms around you, and be like, oh, let me show you this is how you do it, type of thing. So he did that. I feel like I beat him in bowling. But I could be wrong. But I'm going to say that I did because he's not here to say otherwise. I beat him in bowling, but he definitely beat me in pool because I didn't know what I was doing. Overall, it was a very fun time. And then after that, we just continued to talk and continued to go out. And, he had work and I had school. So every weekend, literally every weekend, that we were just going out together, whether it was in New York or it was in Delaware, and we just always wanted to spend time together. Over the next couple of months, I found myself just going back and forth traveling all the time, and it was so fun. I had a great time, and a lot of this travel was on the train. At the time, in the beginning, things didn't shut down until like March of 2020. But if you remember, things were starting to kind of like, news was started to come out in the fall of 2019. Anyway, I just remember that I used to take the train and I used to have such a great time. It was such an adventure. I used to go on the train and meet a new person every single ride. I would whoever I sat with, like, I ended up talking to them, learning their whole like life story pretty much. Oh, why were they taking the train? Where were they going? And it was just a blast. Like, I really, and this is coming from somebody who's pretty introverted, so I don't even talk to people. I usually stay home. I usually just mind my business. This was just like, I guess, the beginning of my kind of like exploration and adventure type of person, that I realized that I really, really had like a love for just kind of traveling, exploring, learning things about people, and I had a great time taking the Amtrak train at that time. Now, I don't know, Amtrak is not great, but at that time it was a blast. After things, kind of got shut down and stuff like that, I continued to take the train. Then in like that spring, summer, basically that whole kind of time of 2020, after things shut down, the train became pretty quiet, but I still would meet new people. Even though there was barely anybody on the train, it was, again, still like a really fun adventure. I just never knew who I was going to meet, what kind of stories I was going to hear. So that continued, that back and forth continued. I graduated. You guys probably saw my TikTok. I graduated from university in 2020. So after that, I spent a couple months looking for a job, and then I ended up getting a job doing insurance. So I was a financial advisor, but in the beginning it was just insurance because everything was shut down. I was working completely remote. I've never really had a time actually where I've had to like fully go into an office 5 days a week. That just, like, when I was in school, I had an internship actually. And so it's funny because I had this internship that I used to do during the summer and winter breaks, and I had to go in 5 days a week. But it's so funny how, like, after graduating from school and starting like an actual career, I've never actually commuted 5 days a week into any job in these 5.5 years since I've graduated school. That back and forth continued for a good bit of time, and then in maybe the summer or fall, I don't remember, I'd have to go back and look, Sean started a new project and we moved in together for the first time and moved to Rochester, New York. I mean, like I said, I was back and forth spending time with him literally every weekend. So it was like we kind of already lived together for a good bit. And then when I finished school, I had no reason to stay in Connecticut because with work, everything was virtual anyways. We were doing everything over Zoom. So then there was a period of time where I was like pretty much living with him full time, and I would just go back home to my mom's house every once in a while, but I would stay there for like weeks on end. But when we went to Rochester, this was the first time that like we were, I guess, like really moving in together, getting an apartment that was both ours. Both of our names were on the lease. So that was another really kind of new time for me too, because I had never moved away from home before, and Rochester, New York was very far. It was like 7 hours away, so that was kind of hard for me. And I used to go back and forth probably every month, at least once a month, to go see my family because I felt bad, I guess, leaving. And then in November of 2021, right before Thanksgiving, actually I remember it was specifically November 11th. That's when we got biscottis. So I had found a breeder over Google who was in Texas, and they had a red standard poodle. She actually was advertising them as Moyenne poodles, which is supposed to be like a medium size, which is not a recognized size here in the US, but it is in Europe. So, that seemed ideal for me because he'd be a little bit smaller than a standard size, and that would be better for apartment living and stuff. But that was not true. He's 65 pounds. He is full size, and that's okay. I love him, but he is kind of big. Things took off from there. We lived in Rochester, New York for maybe 2.5 years. And before that, we were together for about a year and a half. And then we moved to Philly. And currently, this is November that I'm filming this. So at the end of next month, we'll make 3 years that we've been living in Philly. We were in an apartment for the first year and a half, and then last April we decided to buy a house together. So now we have a house here. We may still continue to move around from project to project, which is why I said we live here currently. But so far, things have been good. I'm sure you guys still have a lot of questions, and I'm sure, I'll answer those as time goes on. But for right now, I just wanted to kind of introduce ourselves and kind of give you like the main points, and then we'll go from there. I'm also trying to just like this is just the YouTube aspect of this, recording myself talking to a camera and then like editing it and uploading it is not something that I'm used to. So also understand that for me, like my goal right now is to just get out content, just get used to talking to a camera, editing and putting the content out there. So it's probably not going to be that good, and I apologize for that. But repetition, makes better. Yeah, with practice, the content will get better. But for right now, that's all that I have to say. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. And like I said, if you have more questions, I'm open to answering them. So just drop them in the comments and we'll go from there. I hope everybody has a good day. Please like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next time. Bye.